All right, welcome back to another episode of the Sigma Traders podcast. Welcome, fellow Sigmas. I'm here with David and Dick, the usual guys, and it's hard to get some fellow Sigmas together all at once on the same schedule, but here we are. So we were just talking earlier about how kind of like you can take all of our podcast so far and look at it as different pieces of confluence, like that layers of confluence that you can kind of add into your trading tool belt. Like we discussed our RSI bullish and bearish divergences, how to identify that. We've discussed support resistance levels. What else am I missing, guys? I know there's a bunch of other things. Do you remember?
Well, yeah, support resistances, trend lines, I believe as well. And
we also
the
went over the very
market
basics.
cap. Yeah, like market cap.
Stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah, some of the basic stuff, which the market cap stuff doesn't exactly play into like technical analysis, but it's good to know. But as far as the TA stuff that we've been trying to teach on this podcast so far, you can kind of look at it as like these, we're giving you these different tools to use. You don't have to use all of them at once, but there are ways to kind of understand the language of how to read the charts and looking for different indicators for, what might indicate potential move to the upside or downside. And the important thing is to understand these confluences, because the more layers of confluence you have to build your argument for that asset to go one way or the other, the stronger your case is, and the higher probability it is of going in that direction. Like if you just have one thing that you're looking at where it's like, there's a bullish divergence on the RSI. That's great, but what else is pointing? What other things do you see on the chart that is pointing to potential upside? Because one thing is not enough. There's all these, you want to add, you want to build, you're building an argument with this stuff. You're building a strong argument, and the more support you have for that argument, the stronger your case is, if you look at it that way. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
Pretty much. And especially today, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of this. End of this recording. This will be recorded and posted on YouTube, but there will be a live Q&A. Voice chat will be enabled, but if you want, you can write via text and we can read your question. It can be any kind of question. It can be a stupid question. It can be a difficult question. It can be anything regarding trading, that is. And we'd be happy to answer in case we missed or forgotten to talk about something that is important or something that's in your mind, right? Dick, do you have anything else to say, or should we jump in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick, like Anthony was saying, you want to build a good case, and basically it's your money that you're putting on the line. So you want to give the best probability that your trade is going to play out as you predicted. And so the more confluences you can have before you put in that trade, the better your probability is that it's going to play out that way.
Exactly.
That's essentially what trading is. It's maximizing the probability that your prediction is correct.
Yep. There's no certainty, so we're just looking for opportunities and advantages, and not randomly. By the way, you don't just look at an asset on the chart and just be like, oh, I like this one, I want to ape into it, and I'll just wait till it dips, right? Because it's then it's like, what are you? You can wait for a dip, but like, how far are you at what point are you looking for it to, potentially bottom out, bounce, start recovering? Like, where's your entry on a dip? You don't just say, I'm going to buy the dip, and then it's just this arbitrary, like, then you're in catching falling knife mode. So, and then same with the pump, with selling on a pump, right? It's like, you don't just like pick these arbitrary points of like, oh, it pumped 20%, so it looks like that's a good number, I'm going to just sell there. You probably should too, but by the way, there's other things to look for that could
Mm-hmm.
indicate potential continuation. So
Exactly.
Right.
And I want to personally start with like right now, since we've kind of already gone into support resistances, I think a good combination to that will be what we will call Bulkowski structures. Now, there's a ton of Bulkowski structures, but the main ones, the main important ones are very fewer in number, and they're also they're a lot more common to see as well. I think one that I want to start with just right now from recent memory with Bitcoin is we can look at the Bitcoin 4-hour chart or the Bitcoin daily chart too. Anthony, maybe you can even
yeah, this is the daily.
pull it up. Yeah, so you have a combination of two trend lines. Combined, they make up what is called a falling wedge, and all of these structures have their own characteristics. This means that it's not just this structure comes up, it's going to go up or it's going to go down. A lot of them, as I said, have their own characteristics. It's not as simple as saying it's going to go. It might tell you, in what manner is it going to go up or down. In what manner is it going to, like, for example, you have a symmetrical triangle. That's a neutral pattern, right? So you don't really know if you see a symmetrical pattern. It can be going for both sides, right? And you might see, oh wait, symmetrical triangle broke down, right? Oh, that means the price is going to fall down. Well, there's still a possibility that the way it's going to play out might not be what you're seeing, because one of the characteristics of a symmetrical triangle is that there's always a possibility for like an instant random reversal. That is something that Bulkowski notes, for example. And that's exactly what happened with Alice, for example. Alice broke down from a massive symmetrical triangle. It went to like $10 or something, and then it like pumped to like $12, $13. So that's a good example of what can happen, and you need to look at the characteristics of those structures. Since there's a lot of them, I think if you wants to go over all of them,
This is a
it will
good chart
take us
here.
a
I don't know
lot
if you
of
guys can
time.
see this, but this has kind of the
Yeah, I
classic
can see
ones,
it. Yes.
Yep.
So the one I'm interested in, I posted in the VC text, is the falling wedge that we saw on Bitcoin. Especially after like this massive rally, Bitcoin decided to cool off, and the way it cooled off is kind of like this downwards consolidation that formed this descending wedge structure. And a couple of days ago, 4 days ago, we saw a breakout out of it. In fact, a lot of people, again, on October 27th, what were people saying? People were panicking. Oh my gosh, Bitcoin's going to... I was literally seeing people say Bitcoin's going to go to 54K. Oh, looks really good for 54K. I'm going to buy there, right? But it's kind of difficult to do that. You don't really want to short or sell at support levels. And this trend line, you can see the bottom trend line, which is what we call the demand line. You don't want to sell at demand lines. It's just a bad move. Especially, you don't want to sell at demand lines when it's a bullish trend and there's nothing indicating that there's going to be a massive bearish reversal, right? So it broke out of it, and what it did in this example, and this is a great real example that happened just a couple days ago.
Sorry, I didn't have this
3
pulled up.
days in a row. Yeah, 3 days in a row, the demand line was tested as support 3 days in a row. So, today Bitcoin pumped 3%. Was it just random, or actually you could see the signs there, right? So there is one indicator, something telling you that what happened today was actually going to happen, that it looked prime for that. And so we're seeing, in fact, the three rising methods, I believe, where you kind of have a three red candles and then one green candle that kind of like engulfs all three of them. So there's a three
Also called the
rising
three-line
methods.
strike. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to start with, at least with one of the patterns. And it's very important to be able to use them, because it will help you understand what is exactly going on, what kind of a structure you are in. And it will, you will see bounces from these levels. Again, you could have drawn these lines from like October 25th, you could have already drawn this like falling wedge structure.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just bouncing off of those lines. It was just reacted from those, supply lines and demand lines. So these are not just random lines you're drawing. You're like, oh, if it's over this line, then it's good. No, the price actually does react to those lines. That's why you had 3 touches of the supply line as support. You had 3 touches, and they somehow all got bought up, right? So you're not just like randomly drawing lines. These lines actually do signify something real happening in the market.
And then even this bottom wick here on the on this kind of spinning top type candle here, it broke out of that down out of the falling wedge, and this is why you wait for a back test, because if this was really a bearish break and not a fake out, it would have just kept falling. It would have back tested, and then it would have continued to the downside. Instead, it broke down out of the structure, and then it immediately bought back up into the falling wedge. So that was a fake out. That was basically a bear trap, because it caught all the bears that were buying, on the fall, as it broke down out of the falling wedge. And they got trapped, and the bulls pushed it back inside the falling wedge. So it wasn't quite ready to break down yet. It was a fake out. So that's what that candle wick tells you there. Even though, you could look at that and be like, oh well, it doesn't align with the, with the falling wedge. Yeah, it was a fake out. That's what that indicates there. And then because you can look at this back test once it broke out on the three falling methods, right?
3 rising methods. Yeah, the 3.
The 3 rising methods. There you have on the 3 rising on each bottom wick bottom on the 3 rising methods. You had a back test that was in confluence with the demand line of the falling wedge. So perfect back test. That's exactly. I mean and it's like each day. We're looking at the daily here, right? Yeah, this is the one day. So it's like every day it set a lower low, and if you weren't looking at this, you'd be like, oh, that's it's gonna continue to the downside. What happened? Nope, it broke out, because it successfully back tested, and now it's gonna continue to the upside.
Exactly. So I think this is kind of like a good example of how like these structures can work out, and why it's important to have them in mind. And as I've said, these are not just random lines. These are trend lines that price action really does correlate to. They really show reactions to them. I think another one will be back when Bitcoin was at 40K, like when it tested 40K, right? That was also a falling wedge, and I think you can kind of see another falling wedge.
Oh, it's so obvious right here.
And like you can see price just bouncing
3 touches
so cleanly.
there. 3 touches and then the breakout. So again, once you learn to identify these patterns, you can see them on the chart without even before you even draw the lines. You can see them. You might have to draw it and then kind of even it out a little bit, but you'll get it.
Yeah, I think you can start from the wick bottom.
From here?
Like from the big dump. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like
So
it's 5 total touches. Yeah, 5 total touches though.
Yeah.
So it's
1,
like
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, 5 touches then the breakout. Yep.
So again, people at 40K, I remember people were saying sell. Yep. It's gonna
That's
go
where all
down.
the soy bears got destroyed.
Yep, but you have a bullish structure in a bullish trend. What do you think is gonna happen? The chance of it breaking to the upside is incredibly high, because you have the trend on your side, right? And you have a structure confluent with it. Sure, maybe the oscillators aren't telling you a good story at that time. I do believe there was one bullish divergence on 4 hour, I think, from going off my memory. But even then, this was still a very strong bullish argument at that time.
Yeah, and look again, it's like you're building that argument. What do you see here that has confluence? What do you see there?
Yeah.
Right? So you have
Exactly.
decreasing, lower lows in the price and a higher high on the RSI. So, and then it's inside a falling wedge. So, I mean, that's only two elements that make confluence. If you had a third one, I mean, that would be mega bullish, right? If you had a bullish divergence on the RSI as well, and you have, then you have three.
That was in the, that's the September one.
Yeah,
that was
this
right
was
at
the
that.
this was the 40K.
Yeah, that was right at the January all-time high.
Yep.
Yeah,
This is where all the soy bears were like, oh, it's, we're shorting it down, it's going back down to 30K.
Confluence, it was at 40K support, which was historic resistance if you zoom out and go left.
Actually, you're right. That is another confluence there because you have,
you have critical, very powerful resistance getting flipped into support for the first time in history.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's another powerful confluence on your side. So there's more arguments.
Yep, on the last podcast.
Yeah, this same level. Yeah.
Support and resistances.
This is just such a great time in the market to learn this stuff because we're seeing every day the TA being obeyed. These principles that we've learned and that we're now trying to teach you guys. It's like it proves itself every day. If you're watching closely
another
enough.
Confluence. I was going to say another confluence there was it bounced right off the bull market support band, which is the 21-week EMA and the 20-week SMA. So, and that's another thing we need to keep in mind is there's probably close to an infinite amount of indicators you can use, and you're never going to be able to keep track of all of them.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
The more you have in your tool belt, the more you're going to be able to see, and the more you're going to be able to use. So,
and don't use any indicators you don't know how to explain. If somebody's like, what is that? What do you like? What are you looking at there? And you can't describe what it is. Get it off your chart because it's just it's pointless. It's just adding a decoration to your chart. Basically, it's doing nothing else. So make sure you understand your indicators. You only need. I mean, look, I only use the 20 and 50 day moving averages. Sometimes I'll throw in the SMA. I use the VPVR, which is a volume indicator. Sometimes, and sometimes I'll look at the B bands, the Bollinger Bands there.
Bollinger Bands are quite useful, yeah.
They are, yeah. Especially when you might want to use Bollinger Bands when a range is tightening, like say on Bitcoin. See how this range here is tightening, right? So it's the whole idea of the bands tightening, and then what happens when bands tighten? They snap. So it's an indicator that shows you, there's a little more to it. But yeah, you might want to look at let's see, Cardano's kind of a mess, but yeah. It was tightening, so it was. You can see that the range was tightening here.
And the volatile move came to the downside.
Yeah.
And bounced right off the trend line.
Yeah, but yeah, don't overwhelm yourself with that stuff. Keep it simple and basic so that you can kind of read your chart and not be overwhelmed with autism. Just keep it really straightforward and simple.
Right.
But yeah.
And so, how would you describe a falling wedge pattern? Simple. It's two downward sloping trend lines that will eventually intersect.
Yeah.
What happens at the intersection? And what happens at the intersection? Everything gets tight. When something gets tight, it expands, and it's going to usually expand one way or the other. With a falling wedge, it's a bullish pattern, so it typically breaks upward.
Yep.
When you have that falling wedge in conjunction with, say, a big support line, and that's two ingredients you can put into the cake.
Yep. And I just added this image here with the different Bulkowski chart patterns. I added this in the TA resources channel. If you guys are tuned in, on YouTube and you're not in the Discord already, I have to take this opportunity to shill the Discord, because that's where all the activity's happening there. We have all of our resources, and we post daily. We're posting TA and charts and news and memes and trade setups sometimes. So there was a couple new trade setups posted today. So definitely take advantage of that as a resource. Use it as however you want. Be as active or inactive as you want. The link is, I guess, in the description. So yeah,
Yep.
I mean this is a good one, because it actually even it shows the different types of patterns. So you have like reversal, continuation, and then neutral. Like a classic example of a neutral chart pattern right here would be the symmetrical triangle, which we can see a more recent example of that on Cardano. If I just pull it up here. So this was in it's kind of in a falling wedge now. I just changed that, but like if you kind of just move that, you can see that that's the third one would be there. I mean, that's kind of I would say that's a symmetrical triangle right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? It tightened, and it was like, it just fell right out of the symmetrical triangle. And this is a neutral chart pattern. It's not really indicating like that there could be potential upside or downside. It's just demonstrating that the price is tightening in its current range, and it's like an indecision pattern basically. So it's
it
not,
does tell you that a move one way or another is going to come.
Yeah, that's about it. And then you have to look to other indicators to get an idea of where that might be. I mean, on Cardano here, it's like, look at the MACD, man. It just like crapped out. Like there was no indication of there, both the RSI and MACD here. It's like there's no indication of where this was going to go. They were both going.
So that's not a good time to take a trade.
No, there was absolutely no opportunity here. You have a neutral chart pattern. No indication one way or the other on the oscillators. So that's like a no trade zone. And then what happened? It's like it broke down. So, this is evidence that these patterns are there, and that the price obeys them. It's not evidence that it's not necessarily something that's going to tell you exactly where it's going to go, because you have these neutral patterns. The price will still obey these patterns, but unless you have other indicators that are going to tell you the possibility of where the price might go, it's a coin flip, right? So you're not going to take a trade on a coin flip. That's just stupid. You don't want to take a trade that has a 50% chance of going either way. That's just...
Now if it had some bullish divergence going on, then that will be a argument. But instead, you kind of just had.
But now it does, right? Now it does have bullish divergence, right? Because you have this.
Yep, at least on the MACD. So you're hoping that eventually this kind of like current bearish trend on Cardano, if you're someone that bought Cardano, right? You will hope that it might pick up. It might kind of like just reverse from it. I think another example of symmetrical triangle, and I posted this in VC text, is Alice. Alice is a great example of like kind of how symmetrical triangles can play out in a very unexpected way, because now you got to also remember that, especially when we're looking at altcoins, they usually follow Bitcoin. Okay, so if Bitcoin dumps, altcoins usually dump even harder than Bitcoin, if not all of them, right? There's always going to be very few altcoins that might even pump when Bitcoin is dumping, but in the majority of cases, that's not going to happen. So, Alice,
by the way, not to cut you off, but we have a rare occasion here where Ethereum is currently at still pumping at all-time high.
Oh yeah, well, of course, it's at all-time high. It's at retail buy zones.
Yeah.
This is Yeah, this is where this is. You know who's buying Ethereum right now? The people that's gonna be my exit liquidity.
Charles Hodgson's buying it.
I'm only half joking. I'm only half joking, of course. I think it has a lot of more room to grow, but yeah, I think Tony, if you can pull up the
Yeah.
Alice chart I sent, that
Oh
would
yeah,
be great
yeah.
to like show what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so there's a massive symmetrical triangle. Oops, hang on. Why didn't that open?
Jamie, pull that Alice chart up. Oh, that's loopring. Well, it still makes the point, I guess. But what I wanted to
Wait,
show
where?
was
Oh, I'm sorry. I see it now. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm slightly retarded. Here.
there you go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fake out. Look at that.
You got a little bullish Gartley. We're not talking about harmonics yet, but that is a great argument. It's actually an argument you'd want to see over, in my opinion, over like divergency, because harmonics are really powerful. But you can see a massive symmetrical triangle, like even on the daily, it's massive, and it broke on the upside, but then due to Bitcoin, it dumped fiercely, like below $10. But the nature of a symmetrical triangle is that there kind of is always a chance where like there can be like a violent reversal, and that's exactly what happened here. So from the lowest point to the highest, it appreciated 87% in like 3 days, right? And you can kind of guess that, well, before Bitcoin crapped out, it broke up, on the upside. So you can understand the context of the altcoin and its connection with Bitcoin. You can kind of see, well, even though it like dumped really hard, the chances of it catching up if Bitcoin kind of like corrects itself and stabilizes itself it's non-zero basically, and that's exactly what happened. So it can also you can also use that to understand, especially altcoin setups. It's very important to understand how altcoins operate in the Bitcoin macro, whether it's alt season or not, because they kind of have strange movements that you generally tend not to see in like actual traditional finance assets.
Yeah.
Right. And it'd be good to go over, backtrack a little bit, but go over the measured moves for
Yeah.
the falling wedge and the symmetrical triangle.
Yeah. On this chart here.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, and then another great thing about this chart is it'll show you where to make your entry, where to set your stop loss, and where to target. And these are based on measured moves. So you can look here, and it's like where now say for example this falling wedge is in the almost like in the same situation as Bitcoin is in right now, right? Where imagine this is the all-time high, and above it basically is price discovery. So you might say, how do you find a target then, right? Well, you build it based on the measured move of the widest part of that wedge, right? So you'll look, we'll go over to, is this it's not really a falling wedge, is it? Where is it? Oh, let's use our 40K. This is a perfect example, right? This is how you measure the move, or for a target. So you take your price range tool. I think what is it called? Price range tool.
I think you have it selected under the harmonics thing. Yeah.
So yeah, you just go like that, right? You measure that candle. That's a 25% move. Okay, that's how that structure started. Then you just take this. Control click, by the way, and you can measure a target for the breakout.
Yep.
And I mean, look at that. That's great because it hit that target within, that went what 2% higher than the measured move. So pretty spot on target. What happened after it hit that target? It just ranged for a bit, right? for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for about 4 days until it made its next move up. So that's how you'd kind of measure, that's how you'd measure it. Once you get there, you can kind of decide, like, based on how it's looking. You take your profits there. You take your initial profits from that trade. I'm speaking, just to clarify, we're talking about a swing trade, okay? If you're just like holding or whatever, this might not be as important. But if you're just taking a position on an asset for like 10 days or 2 weeks or something, these are the levels. This is how you're going to calculate how to, when to take profits. So, right there, it's like you have that 25% move. So you can say, well, I'm going to target a 25% move to the upside out of this falling wedge. And boom, it hit it. And then as soon as it hit it, you had traders kind of settling up at that range and gearing up to for the next move, whether that's up or down.
Which is really bullish because it hit that move and it continues to go.
And it flipped it to support, right? So if you if you draw a line here, you'll see it. Look at this. You just draw a line right at the top of that structure, and you have a support that it bounced, that it basically broke that support, kind of back tested it for a couple days, and then it just continued to the upside. Now it's and then went to all-time high from there.
And the way I do the measured move for the falling wedge is you're probably going to get, super similar targets, but I target the top of the structure. Wherever it breaks out, I just target the top of the structure. And you can, do intermediate targets based on, support resistance boxes, whatever you want there. So that's kind of why I operate the falling wedge. But the way Anthony described it, you're probably going to get a target within a couple of percentage points.
And since we can use more examples, I want to, you can use this for like low cap S coins too. I'm gonna post not a trade setup, but like I believe this is called an ascending triangle. Jamie, pull that ascending triangle up. I posted in voice chat text. So this is Morpheus slabs, and you can kind of look at the historical support resistance levels a little bit, especially from like after June. You see like that top that kind of became a resistance, and kind of just like ascending. It's not like I didn't make the lines perfect. I should have probably made that, but you can kind of guess that. Idea. Yeah, you get the idea. 3 touches on the bottom and like just a straight line that's like a straight resistance. And one of the it's important to kind of look at, because each asset, it's very contextual, right? Like the thing about technical analysis especially is it's very contextual, depends on the asset. For example, with Morpheus Labs, you don't need to know what it is, but you can look from price action, historically speaking, which is this year, not much data, but you can see that every time it's like at 0.065 level, like it's above it, it's just kind of like straight up, straight down. You see, like a straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. So between 0.065 and 0.11, that's like just straight up, straight down territory. So like there's a lot of room for it to go. So if it breaks up and it's like runs up for like, I don't know, 10, 20%, like it really depends. If there's a resistance, like let's say if there was a resistance at like 0.7, then I guess that will be a decent place to like think about selling, right? But there isn't any. And so the chance of it kind of like just continuing to go up is very high. And especially the idea behind ascending triangle is that although you're making kind of like equal highs, or like you're getting stuck at the same top, you keep making higher lows. The idea behind making higher lows is that there are more market participants owning this asset than previously, right? So we look at July 21st, and compared to the low of September 11th or September 10th, that higher low pretty much strongly says there's way more people owning this asset. And then September 10th to September 29th, more people own this asset than before. So it kept making higher lows. Even now, it made a higher high. Now it's making a higher low on the resistance level, which it is now treating as support. So once you kind of like get an idea of like support resistance flips, the Bulkowski structures and how they can end up playing out, you will understand that like the probabilities of your moves, your trading moves and swing trades, etc. You will understand that the trades that you're making, the kind of risks that you're taking, you can evaluate them way easier now. So for example, if I was to take a trade right now on Morpheus Labs, I'll probably put a stop loss below the previous low, because then that kind of invalidates my argument. All right, if it's like a lower low than 0.5, then it's like, well, my whole case is destroyed. I don't have a case anymore. So like, why will I keep it below that level, right? It's fairly simple. And you will target the next resistance, basically, because that's when there's going to be sell orders. That's when market participants are going to say, "Yep, this is the historic resistance level. We're going to set sells there," because that's how it has treated historically.
Right. What is this coin, man? It's like what? It looks like Shiba with like it's got like it's like 0.00000013. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy a billion of these, and I'll be a billionaire when it hits $1." Morpheus Labs manufacturing. I think what do they manufacture? Red and blue pills at Morpheus Labs. I think that's what they do, right?
Probably. I don't even know it. Like, but I just had it because I was so fascinated by like. I think I started to look at it from like September 30th and just started to look at like the price action. It's like, it's really crazy. It was just fascinating to watch like it doing this.
Yeah. That's a good example.
I didn't catch it if you said it, David, but yeah, the ascending triangle is one of the most bullish patterns there are.
Mm-hmm.
Am I in the right one here? MITX? That's Morpheus?
Yeah, MITX, but it's USD.
Oh, I'm looking at BTC.
Oh, well,
right.
you can you can look at USD and like zoom out, and you'll see exactly what I'm seeing.
Yeah, you can just eye it up right there. I mean, it's almost in like an ascending channel type thing too, right? Kind of like that. You have two touches on that.
I remember I'll just say this. I remember there was a perfect ascending triangle on ETH-USD back in January. I'll put it in the VC text.
So this is how you harness the power of autism, bros. This is how you do it to make money, so you can escape wage cuckery. You just you learn these things and learn how to read the language basically, and you could generate a lot of attendees without clocking in to work for some boss that doesn't.
You don't need to be a string trader to be using it. You can just be a hodler, but if you use these principles, you can find something that resembles a bottom. Like I've used these principles, and I bought Bitcoin bottoms consistently by using these principles. I bought it at 33K. I bought it 43K, and like kind of just recently, I bought it 60K. Okay, it's not much of a bottom because it's really expensive, but I bought when it was testing to top that falling wedges supply line. I was buying there. I bought a little bit because I knew, this is the confirmed low. So if you use these principles, you can just get really good like dips to buy there, and you can be like quite assured that that's the bottom, that you caught the bottom, or you caught something that's very close to the bottom, and you're just going to enjoy it going up. And so it's, if you're a DCA, right, if you just do DCA, it's useful even for you. All of this is still going to be useful.
Yep, exactly. You can take we've been teaching this almost every episode, that you could, even if you're not a trader and you're not, this is all kind of, maybe you're thinking this is too overwhelming and it's, kind of risky to enter these shorter term positions. You can still apply these principles to longer term. If you're just looking to get into an asset for like a longer term position, whether it's 3 months or a year or like 5 years or something, you still want to apply these strategies, right? You don't want to like be buying at the tops of the cycles, and then it goes into a 2-year bear market, which is possible. We just had that 2018, 2019. It was a 2-year bear market. You know, do you want to buy at the top of that and be bag holding for 2 years? How do you know if there's a top? Well, you can look at the same things we're looking at that we're demonstrating here and apply them to a longer term cycle. And you can find all these indicators you would obviously look at the larger time frames. You're not going to be looking at the 1 hour, the 30-minute, the 15-minute to determine longer term trends, right? You know, think about the time frame you're looking at as the context, as the time context. So, you know, for like to determine longer term, you might want to look at the weekly or the monthly. Even the daily, you know, might be good, but like on really longer term positions that you're looking for, you know, maybe I want to hold this coin at least until the cycle top and then I'll sell it, right? You want to look at the weekly and the monthly. And you're applying the same principles. You can still, I mean, this stuff doesn't just go away because you're in a larger time frame. You know, it still applies. You're just, you know, it's not as relevant to you if you're a longer term hodler. You know, what's the point of looking at the 1 hour unless you're going to sell within that day or something, you know?
Yeah, I think a great example will be like, ask the question, was it possible to kind of detect if there was going to be a Bitcoin, like a major Bitcoin bull market starting at, I don't know, like August or something? Well, you can look at, I think if you like zoom out and look at the weekly time frame, you can see that there is a symmetrical triangle, like a massive...
On Bitcoin?
Yeah, on a massive 2-year symmetrical triangle.
Like zoom all the way out on what, the weekly you said?
Yeah, I'll just make the symmetrical triangle and post it so you can see what I'm referring to. And you can see a perfect example of what we're exactly talking about, because not only did it break out of the symmetrical triangle, it back tested the supply line, and ever since that back test, Bitcoin has appreciated 6 times in value. You see this?
Yeah, look at that. Wow. Yeah, so right there, I mean, you're using the previous cycle top. Yeah, you're looking at the previous cycle top. You know, of what was that? 10. Is that 10K? No, wait, sorry. Yeah.
No, 20K, and then
20K. Right. 20K.
Like
the previous cycle top.
14K.
Yeah. Yep. Made a lower low, and then another lower high, another lower high. So you have 3 touches. That's perfect. 3 touches on the top, 2 on the bottom. That's a valid symmetrical triangle there.
And then back tested the supply line on the weekly right before
mooning. That is beautiful. Wow. Yeah, and then you know, measured move. I'm sure actually let me draw this out and we'll just show you. We just demonstrated how you measure these moves here. So you have here. Let me get rid of these lines. It's all my old support lines I never deleted. So yeah, you have
actually on this one. Sorry to cut you off, but on this one, you can actually. This is a little bit more advanced, but you can do the same thing on the log if you do it on the log scale, and it's bull flag. Bull flag.
So it's like, how do you determine how far this is going to possibly go, right? You don't just pick some random price like, oh, Bitcoin's going to 100K because it's a good round number and I want it to go that high, right? You don't just pick numbers like that. You look at the measured moves. So, I mean, you could even determine, like, basically, if you find some guy on YouTube that's like just pulling these numbers out of his butt based on just it sounding like a good round number, they don't know what they're talking about. That's not to say that they might not be right. You know, I think there is a case to be made that Bitcoin is going to go to, to surpass 100K this cycle, but that's not based on just picking 100K as a random number. That's based on these measured moves here. So you know, if the person can actually demonstrate an argument for why the technicals for why it's going to go there, then they have a case, right? It's the same with making an argument on for anything. You want to actually have support and evidence for that argument. But here, I'll just show you here. This is how you determine how far can this go if it breaks to the upside. Look at that, man. That's 979%. That's almost 1,000% measure move. And what happened? Oops. What happened? How high was the move? How far did it go? It didn't even, we haven't even gotten there yet. So the measured move, we're doing a little bit of macro TA here. And isn't that interesting that I already had that line drawn there, so I must have already done this. But that's the 1,000% measured move right there. That takes you to 118K. So if you're hodling, if you're just hodling Bitcoin and you want to maybe start taking profits towards the end of the cycle and you're not concerned with swing trading and all that stuff, that would be where I'd probably start offloading my position. About 118K based on that measured move from breaking out of that symmetrical triangle that it started in July 2017. And I mean, you could even, you know, if you wanted to get crazy with this, you could go even higher than that, because really this whole move, if you know, oh man, yeah, I don't want to get into macro too much, but yeah, let's stick with that being inside that pattern. But if you wanted to get crazy with that, you'd have an insane price prediction.
I just wanted to show this like 2-year like gigantic structure and how powerful it can play out. That's kind of like what my intention was with the symmetrical triangle. So like, yeah, this works for weekly, it works for monthly even. Although with monthly, it will be probably a lot more. I mean, I think you can draw some lines on the monthly too, but I think the candle patterns matter a lot more on the monthly time frame most of the time.
Yeah, I've drawn some pretty reliable patterns just going back on like silver and gold, and it does, you know, TA works there too. But yeah, for that Bitcoin symmetrical triangle, yeah, it's a bull flag. So will it reach the top of that bull flag? I don't know, but
yeah. And speaking of bull flags,
on the way up.
we have another bull flag forming on DOT. And you guys remember the last time it bull flagged, what happened? Let's go to the hourly. You can probably see it a little better. Here was the last bull flag, right?
Right there.
What happens
Technically,
in a
that's
bull market?
Pennant, but
Yeah, it's a pennant. So I mean, that's kind of the same as what it's doing now. It's like a bull pennant. You know, what happens when it shows these bullish patterns in a bull market, right? You might not, I mean, I wouldn't advise like taking a trade necessarily without any other indicators, but there's a much higher probability if you have no other confluence of a bull flag breaking, continuing to the upside.
It needs to have a hidden bullish divergence, which is a continuation.
Then you have
divergence from the MACD, right? So that is one argument from the MACD, at least.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, you still want to look for confluence, but there's always a high probability when a chart is showing a bull, when it's showing a bullish pattern, a bull flag after a big breakout, it's basically gearing up for more continuation to the upside. It's just traders kind of like settling up at that new level, right? Back testing, forming a new pattern, you know, the bullish pennant, and then it just continues up, making another one. So it's like, then you just take this measured move here. It's like, where do I take profits from here? We're at all-time highs, right? Well, you just do that. Boom. And then you can target 55K as your next target, right? You don't just pick these random numbers.
And it's also, new people interested in the asset. They don't want to buy into a pump, and then they see, oh, it's consolidating a little bit. Maybe I'll buy here. This is the new normal.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and another thing, this isn't like TA, but I want to like keep harping on this point of like not picking random numbers. Like a lot of these noobs, they think they're geniuses. Like they're just going to pick some, like Shiba, like, oh, I'm not selling my Shiba until it goes to 1 cent. It's like, do you really think that these giga whales aren't waiting for it to go to like, if it were possible for it to even reach that level, which I don't think it is, but let's just say that that's a possibility, right? You're going to have all these giga whales waiting for it to hit not 1 cent, but they're gonna wait till it hits like 0.8, 0.9 cents. Then they're gonna dump on all these retards that are waiting for it to go to 1 cent. And it'll never see, and that's actually there's historical evidence of that happening. I think with XRP, that happened recently. I can't off the top of my head think of an example. I will post it in the Discord if I can remember, but there's many examples of that happening. Actually, I think even with DOT, right? Since we're on DOT, the previous all-time high was like $49.9, right? So it's like you can see that the market movers, yeah, was it right here? No, that was recently. Let me go to, yeah, here's the previous all-time high. Sorry, I gotta zoom out more. Here's the previous all-time high right here. Look at that number, 49.8. So all these people that just picked 50K or $50 because it's a nice round number, they never saw $50, right? Because the market movers were it was in price discovery mode, and the market movers were probably saying like, oh, let's just dump on these people that are holding out to wait to see this round number, and that exactly is what happened. So, we don't pick these round numbers because that's not like some high IQ move where it's like nobody else thought of that. You really think these whales aren't like foaming at the mouth waiting for these round numbers to hit in price discovery mode so they could dump on these plebs? Like that's why we don't pick these random round numbers, right? So, it's like a sure sign that the person has no clue what they're doing when they're just saying like, oh, I'm going to FOMO into I'm just going to ape into Shiba and hold it until it hits 1 cent, and then I'll be a trillionaire, right? Because I have like a billion Shiba coins or something, right? So that's not how this works.
Yeah, I think it's much better to just use support resistance levels, because at least there is an actual correlation with historical price movements that you look. That's exact as I said. If you did that with Bitcoin, if instead of picking a round number, if you just looked at Bitcoin and used the context of support resistance levels, like again with the kind of the post-May dump, it was very clear that 30K, right? 30K was some kind of a support, and it acted as that. So if you had a range between 30K and 40K for like 2 months until Bitcoin finally manned up enough, or basically what happened is market movers bought up enough to start this kind of like part 2 of the bull run. If you kind of just stuck with like round numbers or like with memes saying, oh, this is going to go up, this is going to go higher, or whatever, it's just going to be very difficult. You're not going to be really guided to like buying.
Yeah, like I said, you might never see these numbers. You might never see these prices, or that might happen where it dumps right before it sees that number, and then you got to wait for an undisclosed amount of time for it to ever see that again.
Anyways, it's 4.6K right now, like perfectly at that number while we're dissing.
Yes. Let's go, boys.
Yeah.
Where's my ETH chads?
But yeah,
it's just been posting all-time highs since like this whole time we've been podcasting. It's been going.
Actually, I think another thing we can talk about is double bottoms, right? Double bottoms or confirmation lows. Like if you zoom out from the Ethereum chart,
well, I can show you a triple bottom on Bitcoin recently, right? Where was that?
Yeah, sure.
Where did I have a triple bottom? I just saw it.
Well, I mean, there's a double bottom
on ETH
prices. If you zoom out enough to see the June price action, June and July. Look at this. 26th of June and 21st of July, you see a double bottom at 1.8K. Remember when Ethereum was 1.8K?
Post the chart. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you guys are posting in 2 channels here. Oh,
No.
Not to cut you off, but Dick, I definitely want to look at Cup and Handle too.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just pull that up so we have it.
Okay, I'll just.
Where's this double bottom?
On
It's in
ETH?
watch chat text. You can kind of see it's. I didn't do much TA because I usually focus on Bitcoin because Ethereum just follows Bitcoin. But you can see this low
Oh yeah.
and a confirmation low, like
Yep.
the same exact low where
Big old
kind of the
W.
market participants are. Yeah, market participants are like confirming that this is the bottom, right? Just like
Hmm.
you know, if you feel like, oh man, 1.8K Ethereum, that sounds good, but I'm just not sure. What if it just goes even lower? Well, market participants just told you, hey, we made a lower high and now we made the same bottom. There's your bottom. Like that's basically them screaming, this is the bottom. It's time for you to buy here. And ever since then, Ethereum has just
Yeah.
flew
Exactly.
to insane prices, just rallied insanely high. I think double bottoms are pretty important as well to kind of like because market participants will again, as I said, um, at some cases, you know, you might see a single bottom maybe at a support level, and you might just not be sure because what if it's just a reaction, right? Every time the price action moves to a support or resistance level, it's it might just like show a reaction, and then second time it tests, it just blows past, right? Like again, recently with the falling wedge, Bitcoin tested the supply line at October 28th, and it reacted. And then anyone could have told that there was going to be a reaction, but the second time it tested, just blew past it, right? So you're
Yeah.
just never sure. But a confirmation, right? A confirmation low or a confirmation high, if you're making a bearish case, hypothetically speaking, will basically it's basically market participants telling you, hey, we just found the bottom for you, like we'll confirm this, so it's time to send this up. This is literally the bottom, the perfect time to buy. And once you see it confirmed, that's when a lot of really smart people FOMO in. That's why Bitcoin like had insane price action ever since July 21st, because that's again market participants, or like Ethereum ever since it hit 1.88K, because the smart people, the smart money, confirmed that it's not going to go any lower. So why push the price down when it's
Yeah.
now much easier to push it up
Yeah,
and
and
make money?
it makes a great entry because when you have a double bottom, it's very strong evidence that they're, you know, it's basically a confirmed bottom, right? Because yeah, like David said, it's the market participants are determining that they're not willing to sell at any lower than the previous low. So that's a strong indication that that the bottom is in, and you basically, it makes a beautiful entry because you just set your stop loss right before the right underneath the previous low, and it makes for a great high reward, low risk, low risk, high upside opportunity. You know, if it does go lower, the double bottom is invalidated, and you exit the trade because you don't know how much lower it's gonna. Then you have to look for the previous low, which is going to be significantly lower than that, right? Like in this case, the previous low you're going to look for is 1500. You don't want to go, you don't want to go that much lower. So that's why you just simply exit that position before the previous low. So make great entry opportunities.
Yep. You could even say that's a triple bottom with those big
With
wicks
the
up there.
with the wick. Yep. Yeah,
Wick.
that is a
Well,
triple
maybe not a
bottom.
triple bottom, but it
Yeah.
definitely confirmed the bottom that
Right.
it fell from.
You
Well, it
can in
is
fact
because that's
consider
where
it as a
the
support.
shorts the shorts got, or the long liquidation stopped there. Like that's where, yeah. I mean that is technically a triple bottom. Yeah. I think that's the same one I had highlighted too, if I can remember. But yeah. And then we have what else did I want to look at? Oh, we have the cup and handle here. Cup and handle, which is another classic bullish pattern where, you know, it's you'll tend to see like a triple or even a double or triple bottom on these formations. I think, what do we have the chart here? I think this has a cup and handle on it. Let's just cover. We'll do this. We'll cover the cup and handle, and then I think the head and shoulders is a good one, and then we'll call it from there. But basically any pattern we're showing here, there's an inverse of it too. So like we're talking about double bottoms right now. There's also double top. You know, the double tops are the same. It's the same exact thing, but on the inverse, right? It's confirmation that the buyers aren't willing to go any higher. They're not willing to buy at that price, at any higher price than that. And that, you know, a double top confirms that the top is in, just like a double bottom confirms the bottom's in. So you take all of these patterns and there's an inverse to them, and they imply the opposite of each other. So,
as always, you're always looking for confluence
Right.
with the MACD and RSI.
like we like to trade we like to trade the falling wedges in a bull market. So in a bear market, you look for rising wedges. A rising wedge is the price is going up, and you're in a bearish trend with the price going up, and you're looking for the break below, like the break out to the downside of that rising wedge. Rising wedge rising wedge can happen in a bull market and still break bearish. So these are very strong indicators, you know. Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. Yeah, I think maybe we'll look at this cup and handle here, and then I don't know, is there anything you wanted to mention about this chart, Dick? I see you have like a bullish divergence here.
Yeah, you have everything you're looking for with the cup and handle. You measure from the bottom of the cup to the top of the cup. That's your move, and as you can see, it hit it almost perfectly.
Yeah.
And this is a good example. Now, this is against Bitcoin. This is Ren against Bitcoin. And if you would have just held on to Ren, you'd have lost all those profits. You sell, at your measured move. And for me, I made sure it was below that. That red line up there is a Fibonacci line. Made sure it was below that because, again, a lot of people are looking at that. So I just put it below it. Set a take profit there, and it's below. It falls back to a support line, and you took your parachute up top, and now you're sitting pretty with your tendies.
Yep. And that's again based on a measured move.
And you can actually look at the RSI on that one when it's towards the top, and you'll see it goes bearish.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a rising, I think it's like an ascending, broadening wedge.
On the RSI?
It does look like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. It doesn't really count, but like if it was like on the chart instead of the oscillator, it will be a ascending, broadening wedge. So it's like you have descending wedges, and then you have like they can broaden too. So it's like the more it goes, the more kind of like the wider angle it takes. Yep. We can move to head and shoulders too. I gave an example of massive head and shoulders on Bitcoin. People that were trading Bitcoin before May might remember what was happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, you have massive bearish divergences, both on the MACD and RSI. You have a left shoulder, right? And then you have a higher high, which is the head. And then after a dump, in fact, that's a lower low. That means there are less market participants owning this asset before the May dump. And you have a right shoulder. That's a lower high with a hidden bearish divergence. So with all of the principles applied to it, like it was actually very possible. And honestly, it was very simple to see that Bitcoin was going to dump really hard. Once you see this like massive bearish head and shoulders pattern, massive bearish divergences on oscillators, and these like triple, quadruple bearish divergences too, and a lower low and a lower high, this is just market participants confirming that are like, it's not even that the buyers are exhausted, there's just no buyers. Like the buyers don't exist. That's why it went down to 30K, right?
Yeah.
So obviously there's price manipulation. What we've just done is that we've detected the price manipulation. That's what technical analysis kind of is also about. So it's like it's not denying that there's price manipulation or all that kind of stuff. No doubt there was, but we can detect it. We can see some of it going on, right? Wyckoff, there was also a Wyckoff distribution here too, but that's a bit more advanced. I don't
There's
think we should
also
like
bullish
get into
divergence on the MACD.
on the
On the MACD here, can you see my screen on the 4-hour on the MACD? You had a bullish divergence right there. So I mean that indicated that even though the neckline broke out of that head and shoulders, you had a, I guess you didn't know at the time though, right? Because it was still playing out, but it's this is a lagging indicator.
Well,
Keep that in mind.
This is
But
October at least, yeah.
yeah, but you have it. Once you see this continue, you might look for an entry back into Bitcoin once you see that it breaks back above this this neckline that it broke below to confirm the head and shoulders.
Basically a fake out.
Yeah, that's where you can look at. Yeah, it was kind of, and then on the opposite of that,
It's a failed head and shoulders pattern, which is actually
it kind of is, yeah. And we saw that on DOT too. We saw a failed head and shoulders play out on DOT right here. Again, this is a pattern you can see with the naked eye without drawing anything. Once you learn how to identify a head and shoulders, you can just read this like it's a language, right? So you have the one left shoulder there. Here's the head, and here's the right shoulder. What happened? The bears tried to push it below the neckline, and it wasn't happening. It failed. So failed head and shoulders have like a much higher probability of continuing to the upside. That's exactly what happened. So it just, it solidified this as support here at the $26 level. And it just bounced hard off of that failed head and shoulders, the support on the neckline. Just bounced hard. Or not the neckline, I guess
It's called it's the neckline.
Yeah, that's the neckline. Yeah, just bounced hard off of that. So that's how that goes. I mean, look where we are now.
Is that patterns can also fail, right? Because
Right.
again, these are probabilities. Failed if it's a bearish pattern and it fails, then that's just bullish, right? And especially in the bull trend, that's just something you'd love to see if you're an owner of that asset. Same obviously can happen inversely. Maybe you're in a bear trend and you have a bullish pattern, and suddenly you're like, oh, we're gonna get out of this bear market. We're gonna get rich, and you buy, and turns out the pattern fails out, and you get wrecked even more. In fact, that's pretty much what happened. From what I've known, that's pretty much what happened in the 2018 bear market all the time. It's like you saw kind of like these hopeful moments where people were buying, and it just got wrecked more and more and more. That's why it's like it's important to like understand this as a game of probabilities, but it's also important to stay vigilant, right? You can't just kind of like ape into everything that seems like a good opportunity. You have to understand the trend, right? And I'm repeating this a lot, but the trend is your friend, okay? Don't trade against the trend. It's just not a good decision to make unless the trend is significantly getting weaker. Now, how can we understand that the trend is getting significantly weaker? Well, again, higher highs and higher lows. If you keep having higher highs and higher lows, that's the trend continuing. But if that gets disrupted, that's a sign of the trend getting weaker. Volume is another indicator. Now, volume is not perfect because they differ on exchanges. But volatility, that is a good indicator too. If the volatility is getting weaker, and we can see this like historically with the first run to 60K, ever since Bitcoin, made that January high, you could see that, yes, it made an all-time high of 58K. Every time it made a new all-time high, it was just weaker and weaker, right? Like 58K, and then we rallied to only 61K. And then after that, we rallied only to 65K. That's weak. That's not strong. That's weak, right? So that's a sign of volatility just getting weaker and weaker. Your trend getting weaker and weaker. So so you can detect the trend reversal there. Same thing with when Bitcoin was at 30K. Bitcoin just kept trying to go under 30K, and every time it happened, it just got bought up. And over time, the sellers just their strength waned, and that was a moment of reversal. So you want to kind of look out for that, but as I said, never trade against the trend. It's very important to not trade against the trend. Otherwise, you're always going to get wrecked, right? Again, like look at January. Oh man, Bitcoin's consolidating downwards. I better short. You're a retard if you do that. Straight up, you're a dumbass. Because look what happened to you if you shorted at January. It's like, oh, it's 33K. It's going to go even lower. It's going to go 20K. Nope. You got wrecked because you traded against the trend. It's the same thing with the bear market. Oh man, it dumped from 20K to 8K, and now it's at 7K. Well, it's a good time to buy. I'm gonna buy at 7K, and it drops to 5K. Now,
Yeah.
you could have bought at 5K. Oh wait, now it dropped to 3K, right? You're seeing the kind of trend that's the idea
Yeah.
that's going on here.
It's a real red pill when you realize that like every, these giga pumps that you see, right? You often just think of it as like all these people are buying, buying, buying. No, at the other side of every buy is a seller. So it's like these giga pumps where it's just like the price is just mooning, right? There's people selling during that too. That's how the price is going up. It's because they're selling. It's an exchange of. It's a transfer, right? It's the sellers are selling to the buyers. It's really simple, but it's like we tend to forget or take these things for granted that like it's not just like this huge influx of buyers. There's also that many people selling as well. It's just that I guess there's more buyers. It's zero sum, right? So it's like at the end of every buy, at the end of every transaction, an order, a buy or a sell is somebody lost on that trade. So every time you see the order book flying and everything, this thing that you guys will see on the YouTube, the price ticker that I have on here, these are all buyers and sellers. It's not, it might be green. It might show that shorts got liquidated. That means exactly that. The shorts got liquidated, so the price went up. So that means a bunch of bears just got destroyed. So just throwing that out there to keep in mind. But I think that'll
to go to the Q&A or
I was just gonna say I think that'll probably wrap up like as far as the Bulkowski stuff we wanted to talk about. So if you guys have any any like assets you want us to look at or Q&A stuff, we can look into that now.
I'll give you guys speak permission. So if so you all should be able to speak in the voice chats. If it doesn't work, then try rejoining the voice channel.
We did have the first request we had was Doge Bonk. Is that like a real? I'm afraid to pull this up. So if I had to guess, this is just going to be some kind of retarded gigapump. Doge, but it's not even on here. Is that a real? It's not on TradingView, so Doge. Is that a real coin? Or are you guys memeing? I'm too retarded to tell. All right. Anyway, what else we have? WOO. Oh, Luca wants to look at WOO. Is it WOO Network or WOO Trade? I guess it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah, use the one on Huobi. The Huobi exchange has more data.
Yeah. Oh, looks like I did kind of chart this. Yeah, I mean you had it's already broken out of the downsloping resistance there. So yeah, I mean look, it posted a higher lower highs, right? 3 touches on the downsloping resistance, and then just a massive daily. You had a let's see here. Where's my price tool here? So you had a massive 50% candle. So you had a day where it appreciated 50% in value. And I guess, I mean, if you're asking like where you might potentially scale
it's consolidating right now.
It is. And
It's
you can argue that
let me bring up my chart for this.
Yeah, you can argue it's a bit of a bull flag there too. So one would expect, again, very bullish conditions. I personally, if I were looking for an entry here, I would wait for the MACD to start waning to negative momentum, or to positive momentum. So you want to see this MACD kind of cool off and start losing steam. And I might look to start scaling into a position there. And you might want to, let's see.
Yeah, but if you're a holder of that asset, I mean, the good news is that it's showing hidden
Yeah,
bullish divergence
yeah, you just keep
because
holding.
higher low on the price, but lower high on the oscillator. That's a sign of continuation from the MACD oscillator.
Yep,
Straight up,
and you can target, I would say, a 22% move from here, something around there. So
You guys seen a
target,
bull flag on this?
so you probably target $1.54 on there. I mean, if you know, if you were swing trading, if you're just holding, then just you're looking for cycle tops, not temporary, right? Unless you're trying to take some tendies.
yeah, I had a much more detailed like
Here's Dix. He's got a possible bearish crab. So I mean, you still have you know, you're looking at appreciation up to $2 before that would even potentially complete that pattern. So that's the good part is, you know, still more upside to come. But yeah, if that is going to play out, you have a lot of ways to go down as well. Keep that in mind with any of these assets that are like seeing insane price appreciations, like something like Shiba, right? As high as it's going in price discovery mode, it's got that far to also dump, and that fast as well, because it's not establishing any key support levels below it as it's mooning, you know. So you got to keep that in mind. Right?
And for that crab pattern, also keep in mind that the stop loss is at the XA projection is 2, which is at about $2.47. So
Yeah.
it could be, you know, if that pattern plays out, which it doesn't have to, could go all the way up to $2.47.
yeah, I mean, remember if there's like a news-driven catalyst or something like that, and like people start like following into it, like that's it's likely not going to play out if that's like the only bearish sign. But again, harmonics are pretty powerful. Like these are, you don't, you know, there are some people that don't believe in harmonics and they say, no, I'm not going to use harmonics. That's their choice. But from my experience, these wave structures are very consistent.
Well, and every trader uses some kind of wave like detection strategy, whether it's Elliott waves, or harmonics, or like I forget what the other one is called with the W's, like they measure the W's and the M's or whatever. But I mean, you have all kinds of versions of these like wave measurement patterns. So I mean, that's just kind of an undeniable thing that I think every trader knows, whether they use, you know, the harmonics or the Elliott waves or something, that there are ways to measure these waves. There's ways to measure them, and they generally kind of obey those measurements. You know, you can use Fibonacci, you can use like with the harmonics, these are a little more calculated too, where you're looking at, I mean, these are still fib scale. It's still scaling it out on Fibonacci retracements and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this is how you measure these things. Again, it's not all these traders are looking at the same patterns. They're all looking at the same thing. This isn't just like total randomness, you know?
Right. I was also going to say on that symmetrical triangle, it could be part of a bull flag.
Yeah.
Or WOO.
This is good. We're getting some good intel here on WOO, so. Yep.
Yeah,
You
can see this. You can see the kind of like that zone between 1 and 110. That's a congestion area for sure, because you can see historically it always tested that and it got rejected multiple times. But last time it did that, it went above it. So WOO above, at the very most, like above $1.10 is bullish in my opinion. That just says that it has so much strength to stay. Like there's just too much demand keeping the price up here, and it's consolidating below previous all-time high, which it technically breached with a wick, but it didn't really go that far up. But it's consolidating below all-time highs, and that's something assets like doing. Bitcoin did that before it breached 20K. Bitcoin is kind of doing that right now. That's something assets like to do before they like go ape mode. So I won't be personally surprised if like in a couple of weeks it just like hits $2 or something like that.
Just saw
I'm not
something on
saying-
Woo
I'm
to
not
be
saying this is
careful.
I'm not saying it's a great buy. Like you're buying premium here, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like hey, you could have been buying when it was 40 cents, dumbass. You're buying at premium prices here. All right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
this is not a good time to. This is not a safe buy.
No.
The chances
Also
of it
look at-
going lower is much higher than when it was 40 cents. Much
And look
higher.
at the look at there's bearish divergence on the MACD. And
Yeah, definitely. And it's playing
on
out
the
right now.
RSI. Yep. Just be careful on that. It's not a great buy right now, but it's kind of don't really know what it's going to do.
I would say if you're I would say it's a no trade. It's don't take a long on it, but also if you're holding, maybe just keep holding, and maybe start offloading at $2 if you're looking to scale out short term. So possible good news for the Woo-tards in the chat. If you're already holding it, keep holding. If you're looking for an entry,
Not
maybe wait.
By the way, just talking about what we will do in this scenario.
Yes. The obligatory not financial advice, as you all already know.
Yes.
But
Luca's already changed his name to Wootard, I see. Our resident Wootard.
But it's
All
very
right.
important to understand that, like, you know, you need to understand like what is a good value area to buy and what is like a good area to like just observe and see what's gonna happen. Because again, Bitcoin can maybe Bitcoin dumps to I don't know, 56K like tomorrow, and you think Woo is gonna stay above this level? You are stupid if you think that's just what's gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can just tell what it's gonna do if Bitcoin dump 10, negative 10%.
Yeah.
Woo will probably like go below $1 first of all.
Yes.
Maybe it might go to 64 cents, maybe, for example,
Yeah.
or maybe 70 cents, maybe 80 cents. Then you might think about buying, right? But right now it's just
Yeah. There's also that obligatory all alts depend on Bitcoin. So
yes.
any of these like analysis that we're going to be looking at on altcoins, this is just a reminder that like any of this stuff depends on Bitcoin basically not shitting the bed. If it goes, if it does start to dump and sell off, all these altcoins are going to sell off even more. So most of you already know that, but like just throwing that out there that this is why we prioritize Bitcoin. We kind of look at that as the macro market mover, basically, because it all depends on how Bitcoin's doing. Even if it's just going sideways, like these altcoins could moon while Bitcoin's going sideways. It just depends on it not dumping, right?
Yep.
And then when Bitcoin starts mooning, then you're looking at the Bitcoin dominance to see what might happen with alts and if they're going to follow, if they're going to sell off into Bitcoin. That's where you look at Bitcoin dominance. Anyway, do we have another? Let's see here.
Yeah, it was on this one actually. Jay requested. I don't know if he's still in here, but he wanted ETH.
Is he
ETH
still?
analysis.
I don't think he's here anymore, but we can look at it. I didn't see him post that. Where's it?
I think let's. I told him he can join the voice chat. If he joins, we can talk about it. If he doesn't, then we can just do it at the end when we like do a BTC.
I think he was in here
right?
earlier.
He was.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see if he wants to join back.
Either way, we're gonna do it. Just I think
yeah.
we can definitely talk about when he joins. But Rusky asked about DYDX coin.
DYDX.
Which I'm looking at it right now. There's just not enough data, my man. Like,
yeah, unless
this is like I'm looking at it from my. It's on Binance.
What would have the most data? Maybe Huobi. Yeah, this is new. This just dropped September. Look at that.
Yeah, there's not much you can do there.
I mean, we could do like an hourly analysis, but I mean, you're not gonna get a good analysis on a daily time frame.
Yeah, FTX
Yeah, no, this is
it's
new.
the same.
Well, I
Kraken
mean,
is the
look, you
same.
have kind of a downsloping resistance there. I mean, it's kind of like in almost a channel too. I mean, yeah, maybe. Well, like, look, you kind of have like it's kind of goofy to do TA on this, but like, I mean, you kind of have a bullish divergence there.
There's a symmetrical triangle
That's what
in the daily, but it's like it's
Yeah.
so trash. And
That's what I was
wow,
saying.
there's a hidden bullish divergence because look at this September low, higher low, but lower low on RSI. But it's like
Oh, he
again,
says
it's like it's enormous, man.
fundamentals based. All right. Well, let's do this. I'll look into what that even is.
I've seen some stuff about it, but I can't remember.
I mean,
what it is.
the 4 hour looks a lot more bullish. I mean, the 4 hour gives you decent information because, like, I'm looking at it right now. You see, like, the October low, and then there's a lower low on the MACD, and it showed the bullish divergence. But
it's a DEX.
you saw that, but like this bullish divergence played out, and what happened? Just a very small high, and then a huge dump. So it's like,
Yeah.
and that's the point. It's like you just never know. Like it's like they can show you bullish stuff, but it's like there's just not enough history. There's just not enough context. So it's just gambling. Like this is just gambling right now. On a technical analysis perspective, if you're an investor and you're like super into the project and you've done insane research into it and like you genuinely believe it, then that's a different story in my opinion, right? But you got to remember, most projects on the crypto space are scams, and they can just be rug pulls. So, there's a Squid Game token. You guys know about that Squid Game token? It was like $10 or something, and then it went to zero. It got rugged.
Is it Squid DAO?
I think it's Squid Games.
It's not
Squid Games WBNB. Squid Games WBNB.
Oh,
That's
it's
what
a
I'm looking
Binance
at
Smart
right
Chain
now.
scam.
Yeah, but like just type Squid Game or Squid and it'll come up. Squid Game with wrapped Ethereum is just disgusting looking. It literally
Squid Web. Oh no. What what is this?
Oh, look at the one on Uniswap. Squids wrapped Ether. Squids wrapped Ether. Look at this. Just zero.
This doesn't even look like a chart. Like it's just like some kid drew like a squiggle.
Like a squid tentacle.
It actually is squid. Okay. I'm gonna show you an insane. I'm gonna show you an.
I made it to CNBC.
Shot.
Squid Game, dude. See, this is what I mean. The mainstream media loves when this kind of stuff happens because it makes this whole space look so goofy. Squid Game crypto token costs one Shanghai investor his life savings of $28,000 after coin plunged to near zero. Like they eat this stuff up because it makes it look like this whole space is just full of retards, which it kind of is. But they tend to just only show this kind of news when this stuff happens. They're not going to report that somebody also became like a billionaire. What's this? Yeah. In 5 minutes. I think I saw a video of a trader. He was streaming. He like aped into Squid, and it shows his reaction when it just like it flash crashed and went to zero, and he had a meltdown. Yeah, I don't remember where I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it on Twitter.
I wouldn't try to find it here, but if I find it, I'll post it in chat. Yeah. This is like the kind of stuff people like boomers are afraid of with crypto, that it's like it's going to just instantly go to zero. And then it's funny when you see something like that actually happen.
Yeah, then that's why, you don't play around with. I mean, this same thing, it can. I don't know if it can happen with Shiba, but I mean, it can have a similar effect. Okay, like that's the risk with a lot of these kind of like shit coins is that like you ape into it so much and suddenly your life is ruined. And like look at 2017, look at like the coin market cap of like cryptocurrencies in 2017. The only cryptocurrencies that exist from that time are like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. They're the only ones
there
that
was
like
more,
exist.
but yeah, there
Ripple
was.
and Ripple, right? Ripple still exists, but
Yeah, you can go
like
to on
everything to look
Market
at it, and
Cap.
it's like they're literally not even listed anymore. Like you can't even buy them.
Yeah, you can go to historical snapshots. You can go all the way back to April 2013. This is what the market looked like in 2013. There were 7 cryptocurrencies, 7, including Bitcoin. So you had Bitcoin. This is why they call Litecoin the boomer alt, right? Because it's literally the only altcoin that still exists from 2013. It like Litecoin is the only one that still exists. And it's a fork of Bitcoin. There's nothing unique about it. It's just literally a fork of Bitcoin. You have, I mean, none of these exist anymore, right? TerraCoin, DevCoin. This is what it looked. This is what the market looked like. Bitcoin was $134. Litecoin was $4. And these other trash coins were like, this is basically.
They don't even exist. You literally can't even buy them anymore.
Let's see. Yeah, what exchange is this even on? This is dead. This coin is dead. Doesn't exist. So. And I would imagine 10 years from now, it'll look similar. Well, you'll have, just looking at the top 10 today, I'm sure there'll only be a handful, if that, of these top 10 coins, maybe 2 or 3, right, of these top 10 coins that'll still be in the top 10 in like 10 years.
Shiba is not going to be there.
No, the dog memes will absolutely not be there. I would imagine Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't going anywhere. I mean, Binance might still be there because that's basically like Binance stock. So as long as Binance Exchange is like one of the top exchanges, that coin is going to be very valuable, I would imagine this is going to look very, very different. What else do we have?
Let's look at 2017, like historically.
All right.
So when we get a chance, we'll look at Litecoin, Bitcoin.
What month in 2017?
Let's like January 1st.
Yeah. I bought in June of 2017. Ethereum, wow. Ethereum was $8 in January 2017, and I bought around June 11th, and look at what it was, $340. So it mooned from $7 to $340 within like 6 months. Insane.
And let's look at the start of 2018, the blow off top.
Yeah,
let's see that.
that's when XRP flipped Ethereum.
Wow.
For like a short time, XRP was number 2.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, so XRP will probably.
A lot of them still exist today. They're just not in top 10 anymore. Tron exists, Nemesis exists, Bitcoin Cash exists, Stellar exists.
Yep.
I've seen IOTA, Dash still exists. Yeah, a lot of them still exist at least.
Yeah, these all still exist. They're not in that spot anymore, but.
Do you see BitConnect?
Yep.
Look at 37th place. Oh man, BitConnect is such a meme. BitConnect was a massive rug pull.
Dude, it was 26. Like so just for reference, BitConnect was in the position on the chart that hang on, wait for this to load. That Atom is at currently.
Yeah.
So it'd be like Atom having a massive rug pull at the 26th highest market cap. I mean, that was
Gosh.
major news. And again, for the reasons I mentioned earlier, the mainstream news ate that up. Everyone knew about BitConnect. Everyone knew what happened because it was like, the news, they report these horror stories, not the people becoming, these nerds becoming multimillionaires from from buying, years ago. They only report on the people getting destroyed on the pink Wojaks.
Yep.
Yep.
But Luca asked in the voice chat on whether there's going to be a supply shock with Bitcoin and Litecoin. First of all, the supply shock questions, I will say, in my opinion, they're kind of outside TA because these are things that you can mostly find on chain. You can find signs of it with technical analysis, right? But it's mostly an on-chain thing. But I did actually today I looked at Twitter and I did see an increase of active addresses exchanging Litecoin. And same with Ripple actually too. So there's something going on around. I also saw like a massive if you look at Litecoin weekly, there is a multi-month symmetrical triangle on
Oh, what is this? I had a trade
Litecoin.
set up here. Oh, look at this trade setup I made. That pretty much, if you entered where I where I have my entry, you're doing pretty well in this trade. Look at the back
Yeah,
test
I just saw this 3.5-year falling wedge on Litecoin, Bitcoin. If that breaks up, that's going to be.
Well, that's why.
Maybe that's why Burb is so
yeah,
high on it right now.
That's exactly why. Yeah, it's just like sold off like way too much. Yep, accumulating support from 2017. Yeah, it's at like a critical bottom range here. I mean, it can't really go much lower. I guess.
Oh my goodness, this is a insane symmetrical triangle.
On Bitcoin, Litecoin.
Litecoin, Bitcoin, yeah, weekly.
Yeah.
You have a symmetrical triangle? A
Yeah, if you. Well, I'm using the freaking December
I see.
Vic-Low, yeah.
Oh man. Wait, does this start that far back? Hang on, I need a better chart.
It doesn't use Litecoin, yeah, LTC-BTC. I'm using
We'll use,
Binance.
Yeah, that's what I'm on. Oh, I see.
Yeah, you could do it that way too. Even then, that's almost a falling wedge, but
well, and if you, it's kind of bullish divergence. That is huge upside potential. I mean, that's what you want to look for, right? For potential upside, where it's like, how much further can it sell? It's already at the bot. That's the lowest it's been since like 2017.
Yeah.
So yeah, that can't go much lower. I mean, that might be even forming a double bottom. We have to wait and see for confirmation. But
and this is weekly, right? So it's like it feels like it's gonna pop so soon. There's like a couple of weeks for it to for this to play.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this plays out when Bitcoin has a blow off top. Like who knows?
Oh, let's get in on Litecoin. So we're right now on the server. We're Litecoin gang, and we're Soldano gang.
Yeah.
So similar, not obviously not as like long as much of a longer term downtrend on Cardano, but I mean, in terms of this cycle, it's been not seeing the best last couple months with all these other the way compared to all these other alts, I mean, but if you look at the longer term, ADA looks great. That looks great right there. Look at that. We should start doing more macro analysis, man. This is fun. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like that's not going below 128. I would say $1. You'll likely not see
support. Beautiful.
Yeah, you'll likely not see Cardano below $1, at least in this cycle.
Yeah, because it's $1 always. That's what it stands for.
Look at Meta Hero. Is that a coin? Oh, I guess it's Hero. Okay. Dude. I can't do anything with this. Look at the
Bro,
RSI. It's... I mean, this is brand new. It just came out October 29th.
is this a
so...
is this a metaverse coin? Like, is that the?
Oh, is that what it
the
is?
thing? Yeah,
That's what it is. There's nothing you can do.
I forgot about that. I was just asking about my
unless there's an
bags.
exchange where it's new. Dobo.
So he bought this. He just wants to know. I mean, I can't tell you any. This is too fresh, man. It's like fresh out of the gate.
Okay. So you're looking for Dogebank?
Yeah,
Dogebank.com. It's Dobo wrapped BNB. It's not even wrapped either. It's
just
wrapped
flat.
BNB.
Bro, what is it's just stuck in Is it a stable?
No.
I think you're not looking at the right place. I don't think you're looking at the right place.
Dobo wrapped BNB. That's all I got.
Because when I'm looking at it, it shows up. I can show you the chart. Like, why are we looking at shit coins, man? We should look at stuff that matters.
This is probably the same thing. It looks like it just came out anyway. The October 20th. We can't do anything with like a coin that just came out like within the last couple months as far as TA goes.
Okay. I'm gonna
your
stand
guess is as good as ours.
I'm gonna stand in for my bro Paul, and he's gonna say, "Hey man, look at Chainlink." Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at Chainlink.
So we should look at Chainlink.
What is going on with my chart on Chainlink? I have all kinds of schizo lines here.
Oh man, I have. Well, that's because those are actual, support resistance lines that are very critical because Chainlink has a lot of them. But one thing I've noticed is I see a look at the weekly. I see a classic symmetrical triangle as usual on Chainlink. And it broke out of this. So it broke out of this 2 weeks ago.
Let me see what you're talking about.
Symmetrical triangle.
Weekly. Yeah.
Oh, on the weekly. God, what a mess this chart is, dude. What? Look at this old setup I have. Huh. That was the take profit level was at $17, the highest take profit. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, if you measure, start from the top, like the bottom one, you can count the VIC, and it's actually a pretty steep, like demand line.
Is it that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Where's the the top of the triangle is this?
It's from 52. Yep.
Kind of. It's not touching that. It only has two touches.
The touch that I was referring to was the one in the middle, the $35 one. So it's like it's broken.
I see what you mean. Yeah, so it's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah. It just broke out. Yep. Yeah. I mean, if one were to take a long on this, I would say.
I think you should be looking at like resistance because there's a lot of them. I will say, like, especially with historical support resistances with Link, I can just count you the price levels because I already have them all charted. $34. You can see already from September it got treated as a resistance and it sold off wildly. $40, $44, and then all-time high, which is at $52. Those are like the key levels for Chainlink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I plotted that. Then a daily, we had that bullish shark that's still kind of in between. But you have the 3 rising valleys on the daily that are, the third valley is confirming right now, it looks like. If it can do that and break above 35,
Oof,
yeah, we'll
that's
probably
good.
see
50,
50,
yeah,
52,
50 bucks
whatever.
again, easy. Yeah. Yeah, not much there's not much resistance looking left here. If you like from where we're at, I mean, I already had it drawn out. You have 30 36 30 yeah, about $36 and that's it. I mean, you have that,
Yeah.
that's, and we already touched that one, right? But it already recently hit that, you know, tested that previous resistance, which
It's a
had only
previous
seen.
all-time high. Yeah, it's a previous all-time high that was tested as resistance,
Mhm.
sold off insanely
Now
hard,
it's coming back
and
again.
now
I mean,
it's
I
ready
could
to
test it
test it
again
again.
in a day. Like we could see a retest of that again tomorrow, if this keeps, if the, you know, if ETH keeps pumping, we could see within this week another test of $36, and I would say from there you just look left, and what is there, man? There's nothing. It's just, you know, it can just go straight up. It could
Yeah,
just
definitely.
moon straight back up to 50.
Yep.
Maybe, you know, maybe 44. You know, maybe you could probably draw a line here. I'd say that that's probably gonna be a resistance there. So three more levels looking up to previous all time
Yeah,
high.
but
Really.
you look at between 34 and 44, it's just straight up, straight down city.
Yeah. Yep.
And between 34 and 44, you have a 26% increase, like from that. So it's like we might see like 10%, 15% daily candles in a single day on Chainlink
Yep.
soon, especially taking into account the symmetrical triangle breakout on the weekly, which is which basically signals to the market makers that, hey, or rather the market makers are signaling to you, hey, you know, we've stopped accumulate. Okay, we've accumulated enough. We bought enough. It's time to send it. See you at Mars never, because we're gonna even go higher than Mars. We're gonna go. You know, Mars is gonna be our home the way we're going. I mean, they
Yeah.
might be signaling that right now, especially if you get like, if you start to get like bullish news on Chainlink, for example. This is one of the funny things as well, is that you can use TA to kind of predict like news catalysts too, because a lot of times news catalysts or like news driven events happen at like critical levels too.
Yep.
I've noticed, like with Bitcoin, for example, Elon Musk say, "Oh, it's Bitcoin is I don't like Bitcoin because it's like it's not clean energy." He said that when Bitcoin was insanely weak, right?
Yeah.
And when it like got
Completely
rejected at
coordinated.
58K. So
Yep.
yeah, so you could have easily like seen it coming because, oh man, Bitcoin's showing so much weakness. Now, if only there was a news catalyst that that made people want to sell it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
So you might.
saw another symmetrical triangle on Link, another look.
Oh, and
Uh,
by the way, Prayed Up actually posted the Squid Game rug poll that was on Twitch. The guy getting rugged live. So I'll play that real quick.
yes,
Have you guys
do
seen
that.
this?
I don't think so, but I want to.
He's all hype. What, bro? What is with this guy's face? What is? Are those real tattoos on him?
That was a Squid Game moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know he's hurting though, because he's probably in it. That's why he's showing it.
Yeah.
All right. Dude, what was with his tattoos though? He had like the ugliest. They looked like stickers on his face or something.
Yeah, he deserved to get rugged just for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. May he get rugged again.
Yeah. Yeah, there'll be plenty more rug. Yeah, if he's already aping into a squid coin, then there's gonna be plenty more rugs for him for that gentleman. So pray for him, I guess. All right. If you guys got anything, what do we have? Oh, it looks like Bitcoin's moving.
Nice.
It's a new day, man. If it's gonna move, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And Ethereum is 40. Dude, look at Ethereum go. 4,637.
Hold up, guys. I'm gonna log on to my exchange and buy Ethereum now. So if it crashes down,
time to buy. Yeah.
Time to buy. I'm gonna buy Ethereum right now. Oh, retard. I'm gonna buy Ethereum right now. I'm not gonna buy Ethereum when it's bottoming. What am I? A smart trader? No, I'm a retard. I'm gonna buy Ethereum at $4,000.
I only want to buy when everyone else wants to buy.
Yeah. No, but if you bought at 1.8K Ethereum and you're still holding on to it, I mean, you made more than 2x. Yeah. And you're about to make 3x. Just speaking facts, no printer. I think someone wanted to look at Ethereum-BTC.
I bet it was Binance.
We'll do a couple more, then I.
Yeah, then we can stop.
We're approaching the 2-hour mark.
We're marathon streamers.
Yeah, BNB-USD. Well, Ethereum-Bitcoin. I mean, I'm seeing a breakout of a falling wedge on the daily.
Yep.
I got some decent analysis I got some really schizo analysis for Ethereum.
I have, whenever I made this fib, it's like, it's upside down. So let's just delete that. It's embarrassing. Okay. Yep, we have a falling wedge there.
I'll post my schizo ETH Bitcoin chart. And I'll post one that's a little cleaner.
There you go.
Schizo one.
Break out of a falling wedge with, what do you guys see here? What do you see here? Bullish divergence. So of course, you're gonna see.
Even bullish divergence RSI. You can.
Yeah, you do see it here.
On the RSI too.
Yep.
That's
mega bull. That's like a recipe. That is personally, that's my ideal trade. That's the exact kind of confluence that I have a high success rate with. Falling wedge in a bull trend with bullish divergence on the on both oscillators, on the RSI and the MACD. That's like my recipe for success right there.
Yeah.
Nice. I had it in a descending broadening wedge, but I like that better.
What will make this trade even more perfect probably will if there was a harmonic, like a bullish harmonic, like bullish Gartley or something that. Will make it like this really perfect trade even more perfect.
There might be one. I just haven't drawn it out. Let's see what it'd be like.
Yeah, check out the. Let's see. That's A to C is too high.
Yeah,
it's not 1618. I think. Well, from what I know, bullish harmonics don't have higher high and higher low either. So it's like one of them has to like be inverse.
Yeah.
Right, that's right.
You look at the chart I posted in easy text. It's kind of schizo, but there's a massive.
Like you see that bearish harmonic, like how it played out perfectly for Ethereum Bitcoin, and you just had a downward consolidation.
Yep, and it actually didn't play out fully, which tells you that it's still in a bull trend.
Yeah.
I don't think that massive bullish harmonic is going to play out. I think it would have to go down too far for that to play out against Bitcoin. I mean, it could if Bitcoin gigapumps, but I don't see ETH losing that much ground to Bitcoin until the bear market.
I think what we can do is look at Bitcoin dominance and close it off with that.
That's a good
right? What do you
idea.
guys think?
Let me post one more thing for ETH,
Oh, check this
and
out here.
a little bit cleaner.
Check that out. Potential bounce. Potential area of a bounce on Bitcoin dominance. So look out
Yes.
for that.
At a
Okay, so there's my cleaner ETH chart, and looks like it's still consolidating.
Look at how
according to
even,
this chart.
David, look at how even that, like, the top wick right there, like, kind of validated that key resistance,
That line,
that
yeah.
flip to support on Bitcoin dominance. Look at that, man.
Well,
That is,
what is even greater is that there's a falling wedge on Bitcoin dominance that is very soon. That's very close to breaking out. Like
That's a
pretty
steep-
close to breaking out.
On the daily or the 4 hour? 4
it's a
hour.
Easily.
steep wedge. Yep. And kind of waning negative momentum on the MACD, kind of.
Yeah, hidden bullish divergence on the MACD. So
Uh-huh.
the Bitcoin season there's a good chance
not
that
over.
Bitcoin season is about to start again.
Mm-hmm.
When Bitcoin season starts, Bitcoin is definitely going to make a volatile move. And look
Yeah.
at Bollinger Bands too on Bitcoin. What is happening? They're tightening, right?
Yep. And we could
How
see. I mean,
did I know?
yeah, this
Yeah.
is it's plausible that we could see new all-time highs on Bitcoin like any given day this week. I mean, tomorrow, overnight. I mean, it's not far from all-time high. It's
Yeah, we have
kind
a
of just hanging
failed-
out
we have
there.
a
It's 5%. That's a 5.5% move to all-time high.
We have
So
and we
very,
also
very
have a
possible.
failed bearish pattern didn't play out. Bitcoin dominance, strongly implying an upside move, a continuation of the upside move. Bollinger Bands on Bitcoin tightening, right? You have a lot of stuff screaming at you saying volatile move incoming real soon. Volatile move incoming.
Yeah, and then
real
let's
soon.
look at ETH-USD. Where are we at here on the oscillators? Well, what do you see here?
Yeah, that's a pretty big bearish divergence.
Yeah. On the daily, that's the daily.
Even on our side, there's a bearish div, I think.
I had that plotted.
Yeah, a potential bearish div.
Right.
It's not confirmed yet. It's not confirmed yet on our side, but there is a potential. So if you see a reversal candle, like let's say there's a hanging man, right? Like a massive mic to the downside, and it still closes on the top, but it's like a hanging man or something, like a bearish spinning top. If you see a candle like that on Ethereum, you might, if you're an Ethereum hodler, you might be just a tiny bit scared because that will confirm the bearish divergence on our side too. Maybe that might cause a bit of a sell-off on Ethereum. Just,
Yep.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that it can happen. Like you might see a bearish candle and suddenly like just one candle and then suddenly boom, Ethereum might just become very bearish. As I said, I'm not saying it's going to be that way. I personally think Ethereum is very strong right now, but if something like that happened, don't be surprised.
I have
Yeah. Maybe we should tell you that'll be our report for Jay too. There's like a probability that you might want to start selling some ETH into BTC if you're trying to maximize tendies, I guess.
Yeah,
on either
definitely.
one.
Definitely.
Sorry, what were you saying, Dick?
No, I was just saying I have ETH in a rising or ascending channel. It's trying to
I
break
had that
out
too.
of it.
Yep. I had
Okay.
that.
I had that too. Cool.
Mine was actually, what is this, the daily? Yeah, I think mine was a little wide. Yeah. I think I just had that, didn't I? Where's my channel?
I'll post this one real
Yeah,
quick.
that's-
And I don't think this will play out, but never counted out for ETH-USD. That's a bullish cipher. It's a big one. It has not been invalidated yet. So it's just another thing to watch out for ETH.
You have fake outs on both on the upside and the downside too. That's funny.
Yeah.
Like, look at
Yeah.
it. It
Actually,
even
you had a
tests
back test too, and you would
channel.
get. That's a big fake out, man. Because I mean, that was like it. That was beautiful. That's if you were looking for an entry there, you'd be like, oh man, it just back tested, continuation of the upside, and then giga dump to the bottom of that channel.
That was in September when Bitcoin dumped.
Yeah. So that's true. There was like a catalyst involved with that, I think, if I can remember. Wasn't that a catalyst driven dump? I don't remember.
I think, well, it was based on Bitcoin, I think, but you take a look at this ETH Bitcoin chart. Posted it earlier, but Gustin brought it up. We're kind of seeing conflicting things with ETH. It's kind of at a decision point.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like, warning shouldn't be considered as like bear sharks. Again, as I'm saying, like, the chance of Ethereum doing something bearish isn't that high when it's like in the bullish. Because look at this, especially if you look at weekly, but even if you zoom out on the daily, you see like a massive like a multi-month trend line being broken 3 weeks ago, and multiple consecutive green candles. It's just that, first of all, these are premium areas. If you buy here, you're kind of dumb. Not dumb, but like if you're buying here, you miss the opportunity to buy at even better prices. And when you're reaching like these like high areas, the chance of it like eventually it's the chance of it kind of like having this looming threat of buyer exhaustion just becomes a thing. That's what I'm trying to say here. Is again, it could be very bullish, right? Maybe Ethereum hits 5K, maybe it hits 6K, I don't know. But when I'm looking at Ethereum right now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, don't buy Ethereum right now. And I'm also thinking, consider, yeah, I'm not saying sell, I'm saying consider, like change your way of thinking into saying, do I want to sell here right now? Like me personally right now, I don't feel like it, but I won't blame someone for like being like, is this a good time to take profit? Are we getting to those opportunities where maybe we might take some off the table, keep some, liquid on our back pocket in case we get like a massive crash in the future, and we can buy at that time. Something like that. It's never a bad thing to take profit. That's basically, again, I'm not saying this is a profit-taking level either, because I haven't actually looked at like fib levels or anything like that either myself. I'm just saying that like I will start thinking about that basically. I will be like, because I'm assuming that I bought, let's say, I'm assuming you bought Ethereum at a great like value area, like with what we showed with Ethereum-BTC just a couple minutes ago. This falling wedge on Ethereum-BTC, like October 20th was a beautiful time to buy Ethereum, right? Today, it's it's a coin flip. You don't know, right? Like Ethereum-BTC, it might go down, it might go up.
It's not overbought.
Right?
It's not overbought.
Yeah.
There's just that bearish divergence on the daily, on the MACD. But our side's not overbought yet, so it's. I mean, it could go either.
Right now,
it's a coin flip.
Right now, for me, I have it in between, like almost right in the middle between two support resistance lines. So yeah, like David said, it's just a coin.
It's not a time for entries.
It's a time for like considering exits. Not even a time for exits, but like considering that.
If one had to make a move here, if one had to make a move on Ethereum, not financial advice, but based on just kind of what we were just looking at, might be time to roll some ETH tendies into Bitcoin. If one had to make a move, but I
Yeah,
hesitate to kind of mention that because like this could easily like ETH could just continue straight up to 5K from here, and it's still got plenty of room on the RSI to pump on the daily.
Yeah, if you're looking at ETH-USD, we just broke the all-time high. Maybe it comes back and back tests that as support, and it launches. It's just it's an indecision point as far as I'm concerned.
Don't make
for
an
ETH.
entry here on ETH, but there's much better opportunities on other coins, I think.
Yeah. Now, macro, I'm bullish on ETH against Bitcoin.
But yeah, and also the example, like I was referring to, it's easy to kind of foresee like news-driven catalysts. Just today, Australia's largest bank is about to enable Bitcoin services for the 6.5 million user banking app. And then you have Coinbase announcing that you can borrow up to $1 million worth of Bitcoin, I think. No, it says Coinbase says we're excited to announce that eligible customers can now borrow up to $1 million USD from Coinbase. Right? So you're getting like these news catalysts right when Bitcoin is about to be very bullish. I'm just saying, this is how you can detect price manipulation before it even happens, right? So as I said, I'm going to repeat myself over and over again. Price manipulation very clearly happens, but you can detect them. Like you can see how it's being manipulated. That's the point. So it's not like, if you love your conspiracy theories about financial market manipulation, all that, you can keep them. I still have a lot of those beliefs, and I still trade using the charts because the charts are telling me what's going on. They're telling me the truth. And it's important that you need to interpret it in a proper way and stay away from your biases as much as possible and try to be as objective as you can. This is the part where it's a bit more difficult because, when money is involved, a lot of people get very emotional and all that kind of stuff. But it's something important to consider in general.
Yep.
Like I've seen so many again, like Ripple is the same story. Like what if like, I mean, if Ripple just had they're under a lawsuit by the SEC, I believe. Maybe there's about to be, you might see good news coming for the Ripple side in a couple of weeks, and suddenly Ripple, oh wow, Ripple is $2 now. Oh wow, it's $3 now. It might have. There's a possibility for that, but you at least kind of foresaw, hey, there's a chance for this to happen. I'm going to take the chance. And it's an actual educated guess because you're not trading based on pure news. You're not being an idiot. You're trading based on what the charts are telling you. That's what you're doing. And that's what's important.
Yep. Yeah, by the way, did you guys see FTM? I just posted a
Granny coin.
Yeah, the female to male coin. So you have a rising wedge and bearish divergence on both oscillators.
Yep. So what you're saying is, Tony, is that I should buy female to male?
No, I think you should go male to female since it's bearish. So you got to transition back.
Okay. I'll do exactly that.
But I don't know. I mean, this again, keep in mind, like, this is exactly what you want to look for to open a short in a bear market. We're in a bull market, very bullish market sentiment right now.
Can you flip the charts? Can you flip the chart?
How do you do,
you know how
how
to
do you do that?
Let me.
I might be able
look it
to.
up.
It's like Alt-I or Control-I.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, Alt-I.
Wow, this is one of the most
Yeah, that
bullish.
looks amazing. I would be very long on that. So I mean, that tells you. And then look, it's like, where would you target?
I wish you could also flip the
Oh, boy.
oscillators too, but you can assume that there are bullish divergences this time because
Dude,
it's the
FTM
same thing
chads
as
are not
flip.
gonna. FTM chads are not gonna be happy with this. Let's take a look. Flip it back, and you're looking at a potential downside move of 52%. No, I can't see that happening in these conditions. A 52% dump
can
on
underplay.
that's what you would do if the market were bearish. We're in a bull market, right? So this could invalidate easily, but that would be your measured move there. 52%. That's, in my opinion, that's not going to happen. That's like such a
But the good news is, as I said, like measured moves, they don't mean it is going to do that. It's just that that's what the measured move
right,
is.
right.
What you're looking for, if you're an FTM channel, is what you're going to be looking for here is, well, okay, let's see this bearishness play out. Maybe it only goes down 20%, right? 20%. Maybe it only goes down 20%. Yeah, that's a big number,
That
but
is, yeah.
bear with me. And it plays out, and you start to get this like intermediate bearish trend on FTM. And then you start to notice maybe there's some bullish divergences forming. Maybe it's, considering an old resistance as support now. The measured move didn't play out, right? And in a couple of weeks later, maybe a month or two later, FTM might do another massive face melting rally because it consolidated due to that. So you gotta just be smart about these things as well. And it's just that, I'm looking at FTM. I personally, not financial advice. I'm looking at this chart. I'm not thinking about buying here. If I had
No.
FTM, I'd probably sell personally.
I would at least be looking to, if you are holding FTM longer term, I would be looking to accumulate. I would look at at these levels here, probably. Let me draw a box here. I'd look at like around this range here to start accumulating more. So yeah, you are looking for maybe 20, about 27 to 30% move to the downside before really starting to load up on more tranny coins. Can we say that? I don't know.
Like
Let's just say
transmission.
female to male.
Like
Yeah,
transmission.
female to male. Yeah.
Transmission coins.
Yeah.
Pennies.
I mean, if you look left, right, if you zoom out, what I do see is let me use the magnet tool and like draw a horizontal line. I see basically $1.99. That was a resistance level that was treated as support historically, right? On October. So maybe you might see something like that. Maybe you might see a kind of like a double bottom, right? It goes to $2 or something. Test that September all-time high, and resets the oscillators and just cools off a little bit, and then just moons. Maybe it goes below that. Okay, then you might have to start thinking about something else right at that stage. So it's just, this might just be a cool off period because the bearishness in here is not that bad. It won't really be that bad unless it makes a lower low and then a lower high. I think that's when, if you're someone that owns FTM, I think that's the time you will be a little afraid, if not very afraid.
Yep. Yeah, and that previous low is like right about where it would break to the downside out of the ascending wedge too. So cool. All right, I think maybe we'll start to wrap it up here. We're well past the 2-hour mark. We tried to give you guys some extra
or something, I think.
Well, this was actually kind of like a test stream. So thank you for everyone who's like been watching here on Discord. Where this is going to be uploaded to YouTube, but starting, I'm not sure if we'll do this next week or whenever our next one is. We're gonna just start live streaming it on directly to YouTube. So, if it works out on my end, that's what we'll do. So from now on, these will be live streams. We're gonna FTM
cool.
into from podcast to live stream.
Hey, one last one. Luca a while back requested BNB, and so I did that in the VC text. If you want to pull it up, we don't have to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah. Oh, that's looking. Yeah. So we got.
And then I did BNB BTC a little bit above that, but just looks bearish to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of downside even with it because it's at the top of that channel, right? So.
Yep.
But that channel, I could see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Isn't it the bullish harmonic playing out though, right?
Yeah, that could play out too. That could, I mean, or it could just, be finished. Just looking at it in the channel, it's at that resistance line.
Yeah. Yep. So you're
the
looking
really,
at like 391, about 391 at the bottom of that channel there.
There's a lot of way down and not much way up. That's the
right.
That's the thing. So it's like it's bad risk. You're paying premium here. You don't want to pay premium.
You're at the top.
Another bearish divergence on the RSI.
You're at the top of a bearish pattern right now. This is not a good time to buy.
No.
It's interesting, right when Bitcoin is ready to kind of pop off, some of these altcoins.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Major market cap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pull up the
bearishness.
Yeah.
Pull up the BNB Bitcoin analysis that I just did. You'll see a descending triangle.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the more we're looking at these alts, I'm seeing a lot of the same. We're seeing bearish indicators with confluence, right? We're seeing a lot of these ascending wedges with multiple indicators showing potential bearish divergence. So, yeah, this might be a decent time to start considering rolling some alt profits into Bitcoin. Not financial advice, but a lot of these charts are kind of showing the same indicators that these altcoins might, at least in the short term, might be cooling off on their rallies. Yeah, what is this here? Another BNB. So this is it's the same chart, right?
No, it's against Bitcoin.
BTC.
So the first one, the first one was against the dollar. Not much on the oscillators, but I mean a little bit, but the descending triangle is a bearish pattern.
So Luca asked, did you guys go over how to trade using channels on earlier episodes? I haven't seen them at all.
I think in my personal experience, I don't use channels as trading. I just kind of use them as like.
You look at it as a range.
Yeah, it's a range.
It's ranging in that channel.
Zone. It's a consolidation zone too.
Exactly. So it could be ascending, it could be descending, it could be going sideways. It's just a range that it's trading in where you have a clear supply line and a clear and a parallel demand line, and the price is just trading within that, like inside that range. As a swing trader,
you do want to trade it. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Like as a swing trader, I don't really trade those ranges, whether it's Wyckoff or just like a parallel, like your standard parallel channel. I'm looking for the breakouts of those channels. So you might want to, like, for example, where do we have like ETH, right? So like ETH is currently at the top of this channel, where again, not a strong case based just on this channel for an entry here, for it being a good entry. But it could also be on the verge of breaking out of this channel, where you would actually even use the channel, the range, as a price measurement. So you can measure the potential move to the upside out of this channel. This is the same with a wedge or anything, right? Is that you're just determining the potential upside from there, which is about 20%. So I mean, if it breaks out, backtest this channel, the top of that channel as a support, you're looking at it's gonna just go straight into the 5,000 range, 5,000 to 550 or 5,000 to 500 range right there. So that's what you'd be targeting. And same for the downside. But, you know, actually, you would have more downside to go because you'd have.
Yeah. So for the downside, for ascending, you know, when you have ascending channels or ascending wedges, the target is always the bottom of that structure because it's a bearish pattern. If it breaks up, you do exactly what Anthony's doing for the target.
Yeah, and then if it breaks
it's vice
down, you're
versa
looking
for
at you're looking at basically a double bottom situation, right? Where you're going to retest that exact bottom at 2,700 or about 2,800. That's the level you're looking at. If it happens to go, you know, break down into the bottom of that channel and then break down from there. So it's like you want to consider that too. They have about 40% possible downside from up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how you would trade a channel, just like anything else where you're looking. As a swing trader, you're looking for breakouts. You're not really trying to trade these ranges, this chop inside a range, you know. But an ascending range is pretty good. Like you want to ideally you're already in a long position on this asset, and you're holding as it's in that ascending range.
Right.
And then what it does from there is what you determine. You know, if you're gonna start exiting your position or keep holding and look for the next target, which would be 20% from here. So that's how I'd play that.
Yeah. So the breakup out of an ascending channel is the price movement is less volatile than it would if it breaks down. That's essentially how you trade channels. Just like a descending channel, the downside of a breakout down is less than it would be if it breaks up. And that also depends on how steep the channel is.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, so as I said, they're kind of like consolidation ranges. You don't want to look at them as if they're like structures or anything like that. I mean, depending on the context and
If it's
like
a pretty
direction,
steep channel and it breaks out of it, it could be a pretty volatile move.
Yeah.
If depending on, if you're in a bull trend and it's a bearish and it's an ascending channel, you typically don't want to take that.
Yeah,
It's probably not going to hit the bottom of it.
For example, if you had a massive violent move downwards and you have a upwards, like a channel that goes upwards, that's a consolidation channel, that specific context, due to a combination of the, bearish trend, etc., that will not be a good thing if you were a bull, okay? Because if you're a bear, here's what it basically means. It means, okay, now it's like bulls are trying to push the price up, but they're doing nothing, right? They're just getting more and more exhausted. They're just tying themselves up, trying to climb the mountain, but the mountain's too steep for them. So like when I'm ready, I'm just gonna give them a nice punch and I'm just gonna put the price down. That's why like when I saw that Bitcoin was trending downwards after the May dump, I was really hopeful personally because I thought that bulls could at least like kind of regenerate their power again for a couple of months, because that's actually it's not a great sign alone, but it is a decent sign to see that if it's consolidating downwards, you're gonna think it's the bears that's gonna be exhausted, right? And if bulls are buying the bottoms of the channel, then that's obviously a great thing, right?
This guy, KFC Superstar, says, "You all just read graphics, no fundamentals behind the project. Moon this, moon that. We've never said anything's gonna moon. It's all blind investor activity. You're gambling regardless. If everyone knew 2A, then why do markets even move in the first place?" About to get banned.
Low IQ moment. Yeah, I was actually saying that you should buy Ethereum right now because it's gonna move to 10K in like a week. That's what we're saying right now.
What we're saying is that these are the reasons the markets move the way that they do.
Because of people like him.
Yeah.
Well, to his credit, he has a poop sign in his profile and it says education is my biggest enemy. So
Yes, I think we can end here.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we've already talked way too long.
Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, we'll be actually live streaming on YouTube next time. Whenever that is, whenever us Sigma Bros can actually correspond with our schedules, and we'll be having the live chat in there and stuff. So
Yeah.
we'll be able to go over requests and stuff like that to the best of our abilities. But from now on, this will be kind of more of, I guess, like an open discussion type thing, I guess, because that's kind of how it's been now. But yeah, as usual, make sure you subscribe and like and comment and all the things you're supposed to do to continue to get this kind of content on YouTube. And don't forget to join our little Discord community, which has been growing pretty fast. The link will be in the description. So join in there. It's a very active community. Lots of posting going on all day there, and lots of autism and schizo posting and stuff. So good stuff. And yeah, anything else from you guys?
No, just thanks for watching. Just thanks
Yeah.
for
Thanks for
being here.
watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Next
Take care.
time.
Do we have a sign off? Sigma out or something? I don't know. Cringe.
Sigma really and cringe out.
All right.